officially launch. Let us appreciate His Excellency the President.
So this is one block. Okay, the one block has got block Y, which is 18 floors. Students. Here in Kenya. They're from.
Your Excellency, the next one is
Units on 427 acres in Ruiru.
next one is Mock Gardens. Please come forward.
550 units in Juja.
Next one, come forward. Sustainable Housing Solutions. Excellency, next.
Solution, Excellency, are partners of UNOPS. They will be doing 100,000 houses. And Excellency, they will also be providing mortgages to their houses. A total investment of $5 billion.
Thank you, PS and Sustainable Solutions Limited. Thank you very much.
Operationalize the housing fund and establish the Kenya Mortgage Refinancing Company with the intention of providing accessible and affordable housing. Through our housing fund, registered members will have the option of accessing the tenant purchase scheme with a 7% interest rate and a tenure of 25 years. The Kenya Mortgage Refinancing Company is working with financing institutions so that ordinary banks and SACCOs are able to offer attractive long-term mortgages with fixed interest rates of below 10%. The national endeavor under the Affordable Housing Program will not only provide Kenyans with decent housing, but will also provide them with the opportunities to integrate into the manufacturing pillar of the Big Four agenda. It is a requirement in our planning that as far as possible, the inputs of affordable housing projects are sourced locally and especially from micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. This presents an opportunity to scale up opportunities for our MSMEs, and in particular, the informal micro-enterprise sector, who collectively constitute what we commonly refer to as our Juakali sector. We will be conducting soon the allocation of 1,370 units that were in our first flagship project at Park Road in Nairobi shortly. The first beneficiaries of Affordable Housing Program will soon be provided with keys for the completed units, and the progress that we have made is unprecedented in our country's history. Our next flagship projects in Shauri Moyo and Starehe will break ground in early 2020 and bring online another 8,000 units. These projects are part of the larger Eastlands Urban Renewal Master Plan, which will bring online an additional 168,000 units. This by replacing the decaying and dilapidated colonial era units. We will thus be able to generate a modern 177,000 units from the existing 43,000 units. These housing developments will be connected to our transport corridors, economic activity, and allow families to enjoy social amenities not more than 5 kilometers from where they reside. On the social housing side, the resettlement of Kibera Zone B residents to allow for the implementation of the redevelopment is well underway. The project will give decent homes to approximately 4,400 households who have already been enumerated. We are now in the process of selecting a suitable investor who will bring to fruition our plans for decent homes for Kibera B residents. Ladies and gentlemen, our housing pillar is being realized through a robust partnership between my government and the private sector. In that regard, we will be able to make commitments for the housing development as well as work with financiers to ensure that home buyers have access to low-cost mortgages, and in addition to the government's provision of additional financing options through the tenant purchase scheme. We believe that our efforts to strengthen the enabling environment will spur private developers to undertake projects also on private land that should yield an additional 300,000 affordable housing units following the model that the state has laid out. The state's interventions under the Affordable Housing Program are therefore and will be geared towards ensuring home ownership by low-income Kenyans is vastly enhanced. Today, we stand as witnesses to one of the first steps in the journey towards ensuring that all Kenyans have access to decent homes and dignified housing, supported by modern social amenities and integrated with our wider social, economic, as well as political and development goals. By undertaking projects such as this, we also create the next generation of businesses that will be the bedrock of our economy and which will springboard us into the better and brighter future, that of shared prosperity, which is the aspiration of all. Our destination, ladies and gentlemen, is to tackle the housing challenge, and this was inspired by the reality of our nation, Kenya, today. Based on recent census, our population now stands at 47 million people, of whom today 10 million are urban dwellers. And over 90% of town dwellers today live in rented houses, with approximately 65% of those living in informal settlements. In total, we have less than 25,000 mortgages. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what pressed me to find solutions that will enhance access to decent and affordable housing for our people. Today, we are here as a first step to launch one of our strategic partners projects, which when completed will deliver 8,888 units. And I'm informed that Habitat Heights is the first of many housing projects, as we have heard today, that the United Nations Office of Project Services and their partners plan to undertake in our country. Indeed, UNOPS is working with housing finance to manage and avail low-cost mortgages for our people. Today, we are also unveiling our roadmap for the development of a further 200,000 units under the joint efforts between ourselves and the strategic partners who are here today. In September of last year, in New York, we signed a memorandum of understanding with the United Nations Office for Project Services to develop 100,000 units. To bring this MOU to effect, we have just witnessed the signing of a development agreement which will see us produce another 100,000 units beyond the first 8,888 units that are here at Habitat Heights. We have identified the land, as you have seen, where we will be developing the 100,000 units, and this new development will be well planned to become a new city featuring all the amenities of a modern metropolis. And as provided for in the Urban Areas and Cities Act, we will ensure that this is done. This project alone will inject an estimated $5 billion into the Kenyan economy, further evidence and affirmation that Kenya is a worthwhile, secure, and facilitative destination for foreign direct investment. Over the last 18 months, my government has implemented a series of measures that have laid the groundwork for affordable housing by addressing some of the systematic issues that have made housing unavailable and unaffordable, especially in our urban areas and our ever-growing peri-urban areas. We have realized that the affordability of homes was affected by high cost of land and horizontal infrastructure, which can add up to 60% of the cost of any development. And that is why we decided to make national and county government land available for projects like this at no cost. We also undertook to fund bulk infrastructure, and this commitment is also at county level, where our esteemed county governments, through the Kenya Urban Support Program, have committed to prioritize funding and development of infrastructure that will support the creation of sustainable, affordable settlements. To further enhance affordability, we have worked with various stakeholders to identify suitable tax incentives that would have a positive impact on the cost of construction. Through the Finance Act of 2019, we have provided, for example, for VAT exemptions for all inputs into our affordable housing development schemes. We have also continued to provide a 15% corporate tax rate for developers with projects producing at least 100 affordable housing units, which is half the normal corporation tax rate. With these incentives, we expect to reduce the cost of construction inputs, and commensurately, this cost reduction should translate into more affordable construction of homes for our people. Moreover, first-time house owners will be exempt of stamp duty under the Affordable Housing Scheme. In addition to enjoying the doubling of the Home Ownership Saving Plan, we have also waived NEMA and National Construction Authority fees on constructions, and we are seeking various counties to follow suit by waiving their county government development fees in order once again to further reduce the cost to ordinary mwananchi.